cannot hide forever, Luke.
You have been misled all these years. You've come to believe that this is Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from Return of the Jedi. When in fact, it's not. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Collector's Outpost. I am John. So I know a lot of you know this, but some of you may not have actually realized that this isn't actually Luke's lightsaber from Return of the Jedi. Somehow over the years, we've been brought to think that this is really Luke's lightsaber, you know, because it is considered the hero lightsaber of Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi. But pretty much after Return of the Jedi, this is kind of what his lightsaber looks like in a few different variations. But it's virtually like this. What we actually see is Obi-Wan Kenobi's stunt saber from A New Hope, Episode 4. So we first see this lightsaber right after R2-D2 shoots out a version, yet another one. The saber that he catches is actually this V2, Obi-Wan Kenobi's stunt lightsaber. But he catches that one lightsaber, and then we go into another one which is called the Yuma, which is a milled version of this to basically be the stunt saber. And what you'll notice on the Yuma is that there is no clamp card. You just see this little hunk of metal on the side. Now the V3 is actually another stunt saber that they based on the V2, and you'll actually see him fighting Vader towards the end of the movie with this. Now it is just the stunt saber, it is not the actual saber you see Luke holding. So anytime you see Luke holding a lightsaber, or the saber on the belt, or the saber that Vader hands over to the Emperor, that is all the V2. And the one and only time you see this hero lightsaber is in Vader's hands when he says, "I see you've constructed a new lightsaber." And that is it. So the only other time you ever see the hero lightsaber was in a deleted scene, which I'm not even going to count as part of the movie. From what I understand, that is actually a modified Yuma version where they took the metal control box off and they, fixed it up, and they cleaned up the whole hilt and everything to make it more like what we see here. And then from that point on in history, we basically see that version of the lightsaber. So what we are taking a look at today is the 89 Sabers version of the Luke V2. Sent over from my good friends over at Vaders Sabers. I will put a direct link for this down below along with a discount code. Now this is offered in two versions. They have a unweathered, a clean version, and a weathered version. Now this one here, I opted in for the weathered version. Even though it's not 100% like the weathering should be, actually gets me maybe about 60% of the way there, and in another video, I'm actually gonna alter the weathering on this a little bit, just to bring me, I don't know, maybe 80%, 85%, closer to the movie prop. I'm never really looking for 100%. I just want something that represents something I grew up to love. So before we break into this bad boy, if you are new here, thank you so much for stopping by. Drop down below, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button for all upcoming videos. I have a ton of lightsabers right over here to actually get to. And I want to thank everybody who has returned to hang out on the channel here. Let's get on into this unboxing. So right off the back, we have one of my favorite stands, the 89 Saber stands with the plaque right on top there. I don't know, there's just something about these things that sit on the shelf, really nice. It totally looks museum-like, and I absolutely love it. All right, so let's break on open into the box. Now, as always, the 89 Sabers come with this really cool suede-ish kind of carrying case here. It's got a little drawstring over there. And here we go. Here is the V2. Now let's dig in and see everything that it comes with. We obviously have the battery charger, USB battery charger. And then we have, looks like an extra retention screw there, and our Allen wrench. Now I do love when we get these swap out pommels. This is more of a display piece here. Doesn't have any of the audio vents there for the sound. And then on the saber itself, we actually do have one that's audio vented right there. So I love these because pretty much this is just going to sit on display after this. And I love the fact that I can have a pommel without the vents on it. And we also have a really nice blade plug that represents Luke perfectly. All right, here it is, the V2. Now this represents the actual saber we see in Return of the Jedi. Granted, it's pretty clean compared to that version. You do see the black weathering all up and down, the emitter, the neck part, the grips and all of that, the booster. We do have weathering pretty much everywhere. Now, another thing you'll notice here is that we don't even have the buttons or the arrows on the V2. We just have a clamp. And you'll also notice that we have two completely different cards up front here. This is more of that circuit board look. Now, just like on the movie prop itself, you'll see this, I don't exactly know what this is called, but it's a very pointy little nubbin over there and this little square nubbin right over here, which is accurate to the film that is on there. So if you want to actually get really accurate, you might want to add some blue fishing wire over here. I believe that was on there as a stunt to pull the saber toward Luke. Now, because this is Obi-Wan's actual stunt saber, there used to be a wire that came out here and it would feed up, their sleeve into a little battery pack. And the blade was on here and this used to spin. So why it spins is because the rod that used to come out of here actually had reflective material on it, which would reflect the light back to the camera at hundreds of times its brightness. And in Return of the Jedi, what they did to stop the emitter from spinning is they put black gaffer tape around this part of the neck here. Now, gaffer tape is something that is used on like every movie set. I always have tons of this around. So in the very next video I'm I'm basically going to take this as is and level it up to a more screen accurate, not 100% accurate, but just more of a screen accurate weathering. And I think that's going to be rather a simple task because most of the work, I believe, is here. Now, if you get a clean version, you'll actually have to get a stencil to put all of these weathering marks on here in the correct spots, all the way up and down the emitter and around this little wind vane thingy here. I felt like the work here was pretty much done. I don't really care if this little spot is in the right spot or not. So really at this point, what you want to do is just level it up. And what we're going to do to level it up in the next video is we're going to remove pretty much all of the weathering minus a couple of like little spots here and there from the Graflex clamp here. Now that is not going to be a tough task because take a look. I can just go in there and just scratch these little things off. It's just paint. Right? Just remove that little section right there. And keep that in mind, it really is just paint. That's why this actually looks like this. This piece actually used to be black. The weathering is going to come off the pommel. And I believe what I'm going to do is add maybe some rust and some weathering into the middle of the grip here. And the hardest part, I think, is going to be repainting this because this should be more of a brown section. And it actually does have a very specific pattern. And over time, from between the first one and the third one, it just got beat up and, paint chipped off and they didn't care. They just, threw on some tape around here and went about their day. And I gotta say, this is absolutely a beautiful saber. I've never actually held a V2. I've held, a zillion of the hero sabers between Disney and between ones I've bought from Hasbro that I have over here. And knowing the history where the V2 came from makes this even more important. And I honestly don't know why this isn't Luke's hero saber. Now let's dig into this a little bit here. Right here on the backside, we do have our kill switch. When you flip it on, you do have a little green light that comes on, our profit connector right there, and our activation buttons are over there, and we have our 18650 battery right on the back there. Now, I do want to stress that these are just pin connectors. Please be careful when you're putting this together. Pay attention, there's actually a dark one right there. You can see that one's very dark, it's empty, and you're just gonna match that up with the black pin that's in there. So you'll see a whole bunch of copper pins, and you'll see one black pin. So the black pin goes into that empty spot. So for this particular one, we have the Profi board facing up towards the clamp itself. We're gonna slide that in there. Do not jam, do not twist. You will break your pins. See how easy that goes in? As long as it's lined up correctly, it just pops right in. Now you can also get the Saber with or without a blade if you have some blades laying around. I'm actually going to use my buddy's blade from Civilized Sabers. This is actually the Quad Star, and I absolutely love using this blade. Now I do want to say that 89 Saber's emitter hole here is slightly smaller than your average 1 inch. So this was actually sanded down to fit this particular emitter. So what we're going to do, we're going to unscrew the top of the emitter here. And right up top here, you will see the Allen screw there and an Allen screw there. So we have 2 Allen screws to hold this blade in, all right? So what I'm gonna do is we're going to slip this on the bottom there. And this design with the emitter going on the blade first is great because it hides the screws and you'll never be able to see them. So it's beautifully hidden. Okay, so we're going to pop our blade right on in, right down to the pins, tighten up our screws. Now, if you get the 89 Sabers blade, you won't have to do any kind of sanding or anything. You may have blades laying around, if you have a ton of them, that will fit perfectly. So, you know, the choice is yours if you want to get a blade or if you don't want to get a blade. But if you do have a blade laying around, all you have to do is spend a little bit of time and sand it down if it doesn't fit. So down here, under here, is actually our auxiliary.
Ben Solo.
I am Bastila Shan.
Up top here, on the top of the clamp, is our power button. That's bright. Accessing the volume is hold down the power and then hit auxiliary. Power.
Enter volume menu.
And then
Maximum volume.
you're just going to turn.
Minimum volume. Maximum volume.
To get out of the volume, just click the power button.
Exit volume menu.
Now, there are no gesture controls or anything on it, no swing on or swing off. I guess that has to be activated in Profi during coding. But let's get the power going. Beautiful flicker effect on the blade. Very nice sound. Flash on clash. Beautiful smooth swing. Blasters. Lock up.
Ben Solo.
Beautiful.
I am Bastila Shan.
Nice.
Don't be afraid of who you are.
Dark Ray.
May the Force be with you.
Yoda. And we have a great power font so you know where your battery sits. All right, so we're pretty much at 100%. And as that goes down, you'll see the light go down. Changing the color is pretty easy. We're going to hit the auxiliary and power. All right, and we're just going to turn the Saber and then just hit auxiliary and power again to set that in. So you saw we just changed the color. Now the only thing with that is that when you leave the font and come back, it's going to default back to its original color. So if you want to change that fully, you're going to have to go into the actual Profi code into the computer and kind of rechange all your blades and colors and everything from inside. All right, my friends, that is the Luke V2. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments of this lightsaber. I think it's great. I'm going to do a little bit of work on another video just to kind of level up the weathering on this. And thank you so much to Vaders Sabers for sending this over for everybody to check out. I'll put a direct link and a discount code for everybody down in the description below. And while you're down there, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button for upcoming videos. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I will see you all on the next video. Be safe and kind out there in the world. See ya.